Hello and welcome to another Random Code stream. This stream I'm going to be working on a code fix for something that I started in the last stream on, which is to offer up a code fix that if you pick or you're using IsNullOrEmpty, that it will change it to IsNullOrWhitespace for you. So let's get my music going. And yeah, I think we're ready to go. All right, so again, we did the analyzer portion in the last stream. So we're good that way. Actually, I want to have a, can you do string dot? Yeah, you could try that. I was wondering if I wanted to have a negative test, like call something on string that isn't named that. But I think when we do this, the first thing we look for is null or empty. So if it's not named that, it's immediately going to drop out, which I guess is fine. We could have something that does string dot. Yeah. So let's just throw in one test to say string dot compare A, B. Kind of a silly thing. Yeah, it's fine. String comparison. So now we're going to want using system here. Let's take that and put that here. And then there should be no diagnostics with this one. When method is invoked on string that is not is null or empty. Very wordy, but hey, that works. Yep. Okay, let's get into the code fix portion. The one thing I'm worried about with this is that we want to take the contents within what's being called in string is null or whitespace and make sure that that's done exactly the same in is null or empty, and then put that in is null or whitespace, because they both can take a string, but that can be the result from a method invocation or calling a property getter, or you're literally combining two strings together in an interpolated string. We don't know. So we got to copy that stuff verbatim. And we might be able to just pass in the contents of what is in that string. You'll see what I mean in a moment. That invocation. So to follow our so I'll put that here and we'll say code fix. We can do this. Again, just doing the boilerplate that we know we need to do. XML comments have gotten better over the years. They used to really just be annoying as all get out because there was no helpers to do stuff like what I just did, that it has IntelliSense within the crefs and things like that. By them doing that, it made it a little bit easier. And of course, you could just say, AI, change all the things for me. Change to IsNull or whitespace. Okay. And then we need this. And then I think, yeah, we also need this, and then we're going to need one more thing. And that is to override this. I should make a code snippet in Visual Studio for that. Yep, we'll get there. Okay, so as always, we've got to pull out the invocation. Because I believe that's what, if I look at here, it's a good question. Let's make sure we know what we're actually pulling out here. So let's get our test up. I'm guessing it will be an invocation expression syntax, but I really don't know. Yeah. Invocation expression syntax. All right, so we can use that. Here. If node is invocation expression syntax, we'll do that check that way. Now what? Well, if we do something like and now we go to our syntax visualizer, the invocation expression is you'll notice that the invocation expression is the whole thing here. Like you'll see the predefined type on the left, that's the simple member access expression. So this is going to get a little fun. We do know that we wouldn't be called with this code fix unless we found a string IsNullOrEmpty. So I think we can make an assumption that we will have a symbol member access expression. And then the argument list is, yeah, it's actually it's this part. The simple member access expression is this part. So we get the invocation expression. Let's go to our handy Roslyn quoter. And we say var x is equal to string dot is null or white space, because that's actually what we want to generate. Okay, we don't really care what's in there. Okay, so here's the invocation expression that we want. And then with argument list. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't know how many to grab here. So our new invocation node is equal to that. Did I get close? There. Sure. That's close enough. All right, let's pull all this over. And let's push this over. Okay, so with argument list, if we look at an invocation expression node, no, don't, stop it. Jeez. Argument list. And that's what you want. So if we do this, we should, in theory, there. So now if we look at here, we want to basically steal this. And take that off. We'll put that in there. Do I actually do anything that's... Yeah, I do an await here. Okay, never mind. So what I do is I want to replace the invocation node with the new invocation node. And then I will say here, this change to that document, context document, new root. Yep, that's good. This. Is there... Yeah, you don't actually have to say that. Okay. Does it build? It does build. So now we go to making tests. Is null or white space code fix tests. So we'll do it that way. I got to change all this because this isn't right. Recommend. It works. It's just this using verify thing here. I can fix that. But we'll fix that later. Okay, so let's do that. This should be recommend is null. Recommend is null. Okay, verify get fixes when using is null or empty. So if we come back to our code here, we're saying we have something like this. Actually, let's grab this. And the fixed code should look something like And it failed. First of all, does this fail? No, that passes. So why does this fail? Huh? Well, yeah, I know that. I get that. That's the... Wait, I'm missing something here. Oh, I forgot. Never mind. I forgot this. String does not contain a definition for IsNull or whitespace. Oh, it's... I've been miscapitalizing it. Oh, that kind of sucks. I do think that's important to have the right... the right names, and the right capitalization for everything. And then the descriptor. Interesting that it doesn't change it that way. Space. Okay. Did we catch all of it? Nope. All right, I think that's all good. Get rid of that. What about the tests? Yeah, it didn't change it here. Okay, so we got that. Okay. Let's look in the code fix again. We want that to be changed as well. Let's change it right here. Because it should be now. Yeah. Let's also change this to go name of string.is. Why are you not offering up? Odd. Okay, whatever. Does that all build? It does. I just want to prove something out to myself. Let's say we had private static string get left part. which did A, and then we say something like get right part, which is B, and this would be an interpolation of get left test, get left part, test, get right part. Okay. Doesn't matter. This is just to kind of prove in my head that this will not alter yeah, it doesn't. Good. That's good. Now the trick is to get this to work in my scenarios project, which has been quite the pain in the butt. Jeez, bright screen. Okay, so scenarios. Actually, let's add in the shared project as well. I don't think you explicitly need it in the solution, but it wouldn't hurt. Well, I don't have... See, I don't get my code fix offering here. Try... No, recommend is null or white space. So we could have a public bool test, and all that does is it says string content, which could be that. We could have string that is null or empty with the content. Make that static. And we don't get anything back. I mean, things are running because we are getting some of these to show up. I just don't know why. Like you can see here, it is there. And if we go to our error messages here, yeah, we don't even see the info for the digit separator thing that I did before. We are seeing this because we are marking as an error, but we're just not getting it to show up here. And I don't know why. Like these should all have the red around them and they don't. I don't know what I've done to break that. This is always kind of a tricky-ish thing, and I might just be missing something pretty obvious. Yeah, it should just import the project here. It shouldn't... Because it's literally just this is a shared project file, a shared project. It literally just says code in it, and it should say that code gets compiled into this. So that's the only thing I can think of that might be somewhat messing this up, but even then it should still work. Well, now this is, but we don't get the code fix offering either. Part of this just may be the way that I separated these all out so that I have part in one and part in the other. I don't know. I'm not sure. I might post this to one of the groups and say, you know, these things aren't showing up and why aren't they? There's some Discord channels that you can use for the Roslyn stuff. And I might just say, hey, I've been using this to try to just get a visual confirmation that this stuff is working the way I expect it to work. And it's something changed recently that that it isn't working. I don't know why. But I do think that this would work. Again, the key will be to create a package, but I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to commit this and then ask people, hey, I've got this set up where I've got a scenario solution that's referencing my projects to make it so I can see my analyzers and my code fix in action. But nothing is lighting up. I'm not seeing any of the squiggles or anything like that. And just see what happens. So, should work. Should work. But it doesn't. So sad. But what we're going to do is the quick, got the code fix in. Time for a merge. Plus tests. All right, so now let me do the work here to just how do you switch? Oh, can I just there? I want to have a way if I'm over here. You see, if I start typing, I'm not in the code editor. I want to be... Oh. So if I'm here... Okay. So I could do that, and then I could just... Okay, that makes sense. Again, I like I like using keystrokes whenever possible. You know, some of this is... What? What was that all about? So now we're on main. Sure, whatever. Push. And I usually don't do this, but I want to check something real quick. It's just the way it was throwing a little bit of a fit. Okay, that is correct. That is correct as well. Okay, cool. All right. So we got that. Let's delete this. Delete that. And close the loop. Close issue. All right. So if I look at my milestones with 1.0, I think there's only two things left in here. There's a documentation thing, and then also this transport shared class library. I might push that to 1.1 because I want to get the package out there. In fact, I'm going to do that. I'm going to say, let's make it 1.1.0. Because this will just be a documentation thing. And then some other things that I have, I can potentially do in the future. And I think that'll be good. Okay. So I'm going to check in on that thing with why my Sonaris project isn't working the way I think it should. And see if I can get some advice or help on that one. But with this committed, now I've got that working, and I can hopefully push a new package of this, the 1.0 version of it, soon, because I just want to get that over with. But with that, I'm done with this stream. A little bit of a shorter one, but that's okay. I didn't want to move on to anything else, and I figured doing the code fix wouldn't take too long to get done. I don't know if I'll be doing a random code stream tomorrow, because I don't really have anything planned on the radar to do, so I may not do that. I might just do a bike ride in the morning. But I am going to be playing some more Halo Combat Evolved this weekend, so if you want to watch me doing some gaming streams, I'll be doing that as well. If you haven't subscribed to the channel just yet, please do so. I would greatly appreciate it. And with that, I am done with the stream. Thank you all for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you in the future.